Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Now in this video, I'm going to make a tutorial for you on how you can buy cryptocurrency like Litecoin, Ethereum, USDT or Bitcoin using TransferWise on the P2P crypto exchange market. Now, there are a number of P2P cryptocurrency exchanges that I recommend if you've been watching my videos, but in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to do it on the website localcoinswap.com. This happens to be one of my favorite P2P crypto exchanges, and I'm just going to tell you a bit about it. So the reason why I like it a lot is because you don't have to use any KYC to sign up. So all you need is an email, and that can be a burner email. You can use protonmail.com to get just a new email account or whatever, and you're good to go. You don't really have to provide any personal information for that. And then you can use TransferWise on this exchange to buy cryptocurrency. Now on LocalCoinSwap, there are hundreds of different payment methods. You've got every different country here. You've got a lot of different cryptocurrencies you can buy and sell. You've got a lot of different currencies here that you can use. But you know, even though there are so many different payment methods and so many different options, not every cryptocurrency exchange has liquidity in one particular area or another. So on LocalCoinSwap, I don't mean to get lost out in the reads here, there isn't a whole lot of M-Pesa or like these African payment methods, right? But there's a lot of TransferWise, so that's why I happen to be recommending it. So if you want to do it, what you need to do is go first to buy crypto, like I've done here, and click on TransferWise, and you can even select your currency. I'm just going to put USD here to show you what that's like, and then you can look at all the different sellers. Now on a P2P cryptocurrency exchange, you're not buying funds from the exchange, you're doing it directly from other sellers. Now this is the traditional means of buying cryptocurrency. You're doing it directly peer-to-peer with another person. You know, since I don't know when it started, you know, maybe like 2011, 2010. Before that time, a lot of trades were happening peer-to-peer. So the first trade that happened, which was a person buying Bitcoin for some pizza, that was just two people making a gentleman's agreement, coming up with their own terms, and then they made the trade. But since that time, centralized exchanges have risen to prominence simply because it's got all the liquidity, because it's just so much easier to deal with. The downside is that you have a third party managing, you know, all this large trading volume, and the downside is, of course, is that because these people have to deal with banks, they have to adhere to a lot of KYC and AML regulations, which makes them very strict. So if you want to get non-KYC Bitcoin and you want to use different payment methods unafforded on regular exchanges, this is when P2P cryptocurrency exchanges come in handy, and I think one of the best methods for that is TransferWise. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you what a trade actually looks like. I've got a pre-recorded trade right here, so just imagine that I've clicked the buy button and I've gone through and selected the amount that I want. You should then see a situation like this, which I'm going to show you now. Okay, and you will end up with a trading screen that looks like this. So what needs to happen is you need to just check that the person is there. So a simple hi will do. And when that person responds, he might ask you a few more questions. He might ask you, do you have funds on your Wise account? And the reason why that is because when you do a Wise trade for Bitcoin, you're doing something called Wise to Wise. Now, what is Wise to Wise? Wise to Wise means that you've already got funds on your Wise account. You've got funds in your balance. Maybe you've transferred that over from your bank or some other payment platform like Payoneer or PayPal or whatever. You've got funds on there and you're going to send it directly to his Wise account, and to do that he's going to send like his Wise tag, his Wise email, perhaps a payment link. And the reason why this is important to do is because there's another way of paying by using Wise, but you're doing a bank transfer and you're ultimately using Wise as a conduit. Now the reason why a lot of sellers don't, well, pretty much all sellers don't accept this. So there's three reasons why Wise sellers don't accept this form of payment. So number one is because it's not instant. It can take a day, it can take 2 days, 3 days, or whatever, because it's up to your bank. And secondly, there's going to be fees associated with it, which comes with complications. And thirdly, and most importantly, they're concerned about chargeback scams. So if you're sending funds to his Wise account using your own bank, you actually have the option to call up your bank and say, hey, like the Prince of Nigeria tricked me. He said he was in love with me. He made me send all this money, but I didn't mean to. Can you reverse the transaction? And banks will always side with the customer. Well, it really depends on what bank you're with, but this can be a problem. So in order to prevent, in order for sellers to protect themselves from getting scammed, they don't allow this bank transfer payment. So the only way they'll accept funds is by this wise-to-wise method of trading. Now, guys, before I continue on, if you want to use Wise to buy cryptocurrency on a peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchange like LocalCoinSwap, you can use my referral link in the description down below. And once you've signed up, you can get a reduction in trading fees. And once you've done that, you can come back to this video and we can keep going. So as you can see here, the seller is confirming with me whether or not I have balance on my Wise account already. Some may even go as far as asking you for a screenshot, and there's a few ways you can go about this. If they ask you for a screenshot, you can take a screenshot and just make sure to edit out any personal information that you don't want given to the other person, because the person just wants to check that you've got balance there. They're not interested in all this other personal information. But furthermore, if this is something that's too much for you and you don't want to give this information away, then what you can do is just do a trade with another seller. You can say, sorry, I'm not comfortable giving that information, and you can go find another seller. So that's something you can do. But so once you've gotten past that stage and you've let the seller know that you've actually got funds in your Wise account already, then it's up to him to escrow. So I need to explain what escrow is. So what escrow is, it's a way of protecting buyers from getting scammed. So if you trade without escrow, what will happen is that you'll send funds to the person who's promising to send you Bitcoin or whatever. At the moment you send funds, they can just disappear. You know why? Because it's online, it's crypto, it's a very low trust environment, and you shouldn't be relying on trust, right? So the way to even out the trust factor is to make it so the seller has to lock his funds in a third-party escrow wallet. So you can imagine that the funds now sit between you and the seller. And also, if there's ever a problem with that transaction, let's just say that you send funds to him and he says they haven't arrived, with the intention of scamming you, then you can both open up a dispute, and a moderator can step in, and he's going to look at the evidence, and then he will decide, who's actually the scammer. And just from personal experience, I've never had a bad experience with a moderator. And frequently it's because of the fact that it's actually much harder than you think to doctor information. They've got a lot of techniques that will allow them to tell whether or not funds have been sent or not, which, by the way, is much easier to prove than you would think. But yeah, as I mentioned, this isn't something you really have to worry about. Your main concern is making sure that you send only when funds are locked in escrow. Any time that anyone has a complaint about peer-to-peer trading, they got scammed by a seller or something like that, it's always because they sent the funds when the funds were locked in escrow. And that's why, as you can see, that there's so many signs. When you go to any peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchange, like here, there's like a big bold sign saying, do not pay seller yet, escrow not confirmed. They really want you to make sure that you're sending when the escrow is confirmed, because even if you're dealing with the dodgiest seller ever, as long as the funds are in escrow, he can't just run away with your funds. But on that note, I also just want to point out, generally speaking, it's just good to deal with someone with a high amount of feedback, right? Sure, you can deal with someone with a low amount of feedback as long as there's escrow, but sometimes it's just good to have that peace of mind. Now, as you can see here, the funds are now in escrow. The person that I'm dealing with has sent his funds into escrow, and now it's on him to send the payment information, which he's done, but I've blurred out for obvious information. He sent me his Wise tag, and then I'm going to copy that Wise tag, and then I'm going to go into my Wise app, and I'm going to send it there. I'm not going to show you, my Wise account. Don't want to dox myself or anything, but if you've got Wise, it's pretty self-explanatory. You can send funds through like email, phone number, Wise tag, payment link. So the seller will send the payment information to you. You just copy that information, put it into Wise, send it off, and then once you send it, you then click I have paid, XYZ seller, whatever his name is. And then once you've clicked that it's paid, it's then on the seller to confirm whether or not they've received the funds. Now, if he's not a dodgy seller, he's just going to mark that it's paid, mark that he received funds, and you'll get your money. It's as simple as that. But something else that is really common, in fact, all sellers will do this, is that they'll ask for your sender name. Now, this is a bit of a caveat because some people don't like when I tell them that this is something they might have to do when they do Wise trading. On local CoinSwap, there's no KYC, and then when you open up a trade with a seller for Wise, they don't require any KYC or anything like that. But when the trade, when you've sent when you've sent the funds, frequently they'll ask the sender name, and I'll explain why that is. So you don't know, you might think, oh, this person's just dealing with me, but these guys, especially if they've got like, tens of thousands of feedback, these are people that do this full time, and they're trading, like they've got dozens and dozens of trades a day, or maybe happening simultaneously, not just on local CoinSwap, maybe on multiple other crypto exchanges as well. And when they've got all this money flying in and out, if you've opened up a trade for say $1,000, like that's a really common trade amount. Like I'm sure every seller at least once has had a bad experience where they've had two people open up a trade for $1,000. Someone sent that funds, and then the seller will release the funds to somebody else. They'll send the crypto to somebody else because they thought someone else sent that $1,000. So that's one reason why they want to ensure that it was you that sent the funds, and that's why they ask for the sender name. And the second reason is they actually want to make sure that it was you that would send the funds and not some kind of third party. And it's not that third party trading is inherently a bad thing for a lot of these traders, but they just want to make sure that you're not involved in some kind of scam, right? So one example might be, we'll go back to the Prince of Nigeria. He's called up some, person who's fallen in love with him, and he's saying, hey, babe, can you send me $1,000 to this Wise address? Then the victim sends funds to this Wise address, and that happens to be the seller. And now the seller is implicated in some potential scam. So he wants to make sure that it's you that you're dealing with. And I know that you could come up with a bunch of plot holes as to why, maybe that doesn't make sense, but this is basically just how it is in this whole little ecosystem. You won't find many traders that aren't going to ask for this sender name. And again, if this is something that you feel uncomfortable with, there's a few ways around this. One thing is you can give a you don't have to write your full name. So let's just say your name's Bob Smith. Just write Bob S. And if that's too much for you, just write B Smith, or if that's too much for you, maybe just write B.S, right? Just make it clear that you're writing an abbreviation, and frequently you can get away with it. A lot of sellers will understand, that you're trying to be anonymous, and they'll let you get away with it. And if it's still too much, if you absolutely insist that's not okay, then you're going to have to apply for a refund. The seller will send funds back to you, the trade will be cancelled, and you just have to trade with somebody else if you're really concerned about that. But that's really all there is to it. Once you provide the sender name and the seller confirms that you received the funds, he's then going to release the funds that are locked in escrow, and it'll go into your wallet on local CoinSwap. And that's really it. So guys, if you like this video, make sure to subscribe. And if you want to get involved buying cryptocurrency without KYC using TransferWise, use my referral link in the description down below for local CoinSwap, and I've got a few others you can check out as well. HODL, BitPapa if you want to try Monero trading, and yeah, so I'll see you in the next video.